Ellie,
said the voice on the other side of my bedroom door.
I'm freaking worried for you. Open the goddamn door. Ellie!
For the love of all things holy and unholy, there's no way I'm opening that door. Let me explain why. I'm a third-year undergrad, rooming in an apartment with my best friend Tobias. We go way back, all the way from the day we met in junior high, 8 years ago, to college. It was like your stereotypical girl-guy best friend type of thing, minus the romance. He and I have been there for each other through every fathomable thing that could happen to an adolescent teenager. From our best moments, to the times where life just got too goddamn hard. I've been through it all with Tobias. And I know that isn't him knocking on my door right now. Last Wednesday, I took the train home to visit my family a few towns over for Thanksgiving. Classes were cancelled for the break, and were to resume the next Monday after the holiday. The last time I saw Tobias was when he dropped me off at the station. "Thanks," I said hastily, while lugging my backpack and duffel bag out of his car. I could hear the train approaching in the distance. Sorry for rushing you." "Hurry up before it leaves your ass," Tobias replied with a playful grin. I rolled my eyes, but smiled before shutting the car door. I was already on the train when I realized that I'd left my phone in Tobias's car. Inwardly, I cursed when I remembered I was using the aux cord on the way to the station. I didn't worry about it at the time, though. I knew my phone was in safe hands, and I could almost hear the camera shutter clicks of Tobias spamming my photo gallery with his face. The small vacation flew by in the blink of an eye. Thanksgiving and the few days after it were filled with food, friends, and family. It was a pleasant break, more of a distraction really, in midst of the semester. A calm before the inevitable storm of final season. On the Sunday I got back, I took the bus from the train station to my apartment. I dropped my bags on the floor of my bedroom with a sigh of relief, then turned to see my phone placed on my desk. Next to it was a message on a little note that read, "You left your phone in my car," written in Tobias's handwriting, with a little ugly smiley face drawn beside it. I grabbed my phone, happy to see that Tobias had it charging while I was gone, and checked my social media. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and then Snapchat was the order I followed religiously when it came to clearing notifications. I mostly found photos from the break that I was tagged in on the first 3 platforms, the family-friendly ones on Facebook and Twitter, while the Finsta-worthy photos were on my friend's private Instagram. Then I checked my Snapchat, where to no surprise, the snaps sent to me were just more photos of me with family and friends. I screenshotted them all, and was about to close the app when I noticed a red exclamation mark on the top left of my screen. Someone had failed to load onto my story. Thinking it was just a selfie from Tobias, I tapped on the red mark. There was no way I would have been prepared for what I saw next. The first clip was of him and another person holding up my phone. It was a girl, I think. They were sitting at our dining table in the apartment, and they were laughing together. It was the kind of airy wheeze you let out when you've been laughing for so long and you still can't stop. Seeing Tobias so out of breath with a tomato-red face, I couldn't help but let out a chuckle myself. The laughter filled up the whole 10 seconds of the clip, and then I tapped the screen to move on to the next failed post. And Tobias was just sitting there, still, at the dining table, with his back rounded in a slump, and a glassy, empty look in his eyes. The skin on his face was drooping with exhaustion, as if he hadn't slept in days, and the color had drained from it entirely. There was the sound of a gun being cocked, and Tobias's head was taken straight off. Blood, skull, and brain matter splattered onto the camera lens and the walls, and there was a huge gaping hole in the plaster behind him. His body was still perfectly in the center of the frame, knocked back onto his seat in the headless, lifeless display. I was screaming. I threw my phone onto the floor and then bolted into the living room. I inspected the scene, hyperventilating as my fingers traced the glass surface of the dining table and the walls behind it. There wasn't a drop of blood or broken bits of drywall in sight. What the fuck? And then I paused. The pads of my fingers pushed onto the squishy finish on the drywall, and the white residue was left on my skin. White plaster. I jolted back from the sound of scuffling footsteps and a key being inserted in the front lock. I didn't waste a second running back into my room and locking the door behind me. I then grabbed my laptop and cell phone and shut myself in the closet, forcing myself to steady my breathing as I pressed my ear against the wall. The front door opened, and then closed. Loud, lumbering footsteps made their way into the apartment. And there was a pause, and then...
Ellie, are you home?
Then the knocking came. It was outside my door.
Ellie, I know you're in there.
This is where I am now. It's using his voice, calling my name, banging frantically against the door to come inside. But I know it's not him. I know. I know because I just got a text message from Tobias. The real Tobias, I think. And he's telling me not to go into the apartment.
Please leave your message